already gone.
Oh, gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
Yeah, Sheed's gone.
Who comes in that class then? Is there not another name in that class that comes in? I'm feeling like there's somebody. Yeah, that's right. She was part of Stackhouse's team.
That's the other person. They're both gone.
Right.
So,
okay. Yeah.
I go 98. You go 34-4. Now, granted, Bill Guthridge was gifted with the talent, but also you have to coach that talent. That's with Dean Smith not coaching. And you go 34-4. You win 13-3 in the ACC, and you make the Final Four. So you were close.
Okay.
So that's why I went more that team over 86, 87. That team made the Final Four. 86, 87 didn't. 08, I think we can all agree why that team.
Yes, that was
probably deeper than the 09 team that won a national championship, which was very deep.
Yes, because Marcus Ginyard was also on that team.
Yeah,
he wasn't injured.
Ginyard was healthy. So
yes, definitely.
And they just they steamrolled so many really good teams.
I don't think I've ever gone into a tournament with more confidence than that year, maybe besides 09. I looked at that 08 team and was like, yeah, they're not losing. And I was wrong, as I normally am, but yes.
They beat so many good teams, and they beat them soundly.
They lost 2 regular season games in the modern era of college basketball. That is ridiculous.
So, and then 12. I'm of the opinion if Kendall Marshall doesn't break his wrist, that team wins the national championship.
Here's why 87. You just made my point there. Injuries, you got to consider injuries. So, okay, put Kenny Smith in. That's the reason that I have 87 on that list. I get that they really weren't all that talented, but I mean, here's the thing. Let's compare just some of the numbers between the 83 and 84 team. I think and the 86, 87. I think that 86, 87 was more balanced because you look at the numbers. Mike and Sam Perkins were the best guys on that 83-84 team. Then it was sort of a pretty significant drop-off. I mean, again, it was early in both of their careers, but both Brad Daugherty and Matt Daugherty were still young, and they both weren't at their peak yet. But the numbers aren't as good. There was so much balance on that 86-87 team. You talk about Kenny Smith. J.R. Reed, who I think is also one of those guys that we could talk about and underappreciated. Very, very good player that just a lot of people don't talk about. Joe Wolf had a fantastic year that year, was one of the big men on that team. And then Jeff Lebo averaged 13.5. All the other guys that I mentioned, the first 3, they all averaged 14.7 points or more. So this team could score. This was the first Carolina team that is on this list that averaged 90 or more points per game. I would imagine might be the first in program history, or, well, probably not. I'm willing to bet that 82 team averaged that because they were really, really good. But, like, I know one of the things, well, you look at the rebounding margin. It's only 5.6. Well, the 83-84 team was even smaller, 4.3. So, you know, rebounding is a big thing for Carolina, but I think more during the Roy era than during the Dean era is where rebounding is important. I think it was somewhat important for Dean, but Dean was more of a guy that wanted you to be extremely sound offensively and run the four corners offense the way it was supposed to be run.
Well, and also look at it as much as we run the same stuff that we've been running since 1961. We play faster under Roy Williams. So defensively, there's an emphasis defensively. We hear that in every press conference. We got to get better defensively.
Right.
Under Dean, they were better defensively, bar none.
Mm-hmm.
But also rebounding in this version of in the modern era college basketball is different with the rules, with the shot clock, especially now as you've got a shorter shot clock. So there's some other factors that weigh in on that.
My main thing is that, okay, if you look at the 83, 84, and the 86, 87 team, they are not really a whole lot different outside of the fact that one was more star-led and one was a little more balanced. Right. They're both very similar basketball teams. So those are our four. I've got mine, you've got yours. I'm assuming since you own this podcast, you are entitled to lead off here.
I'll let you go first because I'm interested in what you see and I want to see if we agree.
Okay, so man, this was really, really tough debating between these groups. I just think pretty much what I did is I said, okay, if I'm going to put all these teams on a court and have a 4-team tournament, who is going to come out of this? I'm going to tell you, I think the 11-12 team would be the first one out because they just didn't have the shooting. And I just don't see Tyler Zeller beating Tyler Hansborough or some of these other guys that we saw inside. Maybe, but I don't know. And then I had to eliminate 86, 87 because of the injury to Kenny Smith. So to me, it came down to 83, 84. I went with 07, 08 because, I mean, you talked about it. I have never been so confident in my life in any of my sports teams ever. I mean, and the closest I've come is being a New York Ranger fan the year we went to the Stanley Cup and then the next year we came back. I thought, okay, this team can make a deep run. Nothing beats that Carolina team. I said in my mind, when we got into that 08 tournament, we are the champ. There is nobody beating us. Nobody. We will kill anybody. We could beat NBA teams. We could beat the Knicks. They suck. Let's play them. We could beat them. Okay, Carolina was that good. You just look at you talked about it, the depth on that roster. I mean, pretty much there were anybody from that 08, 09 team that was significant was there, plus Marcus Ginyard. Tyler Hansborough averaged a double-double inside. The best Carolina teams that we've seen have been dominated by big men. You had Ty Lawson there who, again, that debate will go on forever, but is high. There are a lot of people that would pick him as the greatest point guard in the Roy Williams era. Guy in Wayne Ellington who could shoot the lights out. Then there's the guy that nobody talks about from those teams. Really, he's thought of as more of an 08-09 guy. Danny Green was huge for that 07-08 team. The defensive presence that they needed. We talked about the margins, both scoring and on the glass. I think, to me, if you put all four of these teams on a court, which, again, we know this can never happen. This is the LeBron versus Michael in a one-on-one debate. I think 07-08 would win this tournament. And I'm going to be honest, I think they might be able to beat that 83-84 team by double digits. I'm going to be real because the talent that 07-08 team had was just every position. It was hard to find. There was pretty much what I'm saying is each time out, you could shut down the other four guys, and that other guy could beat you. He could beat you. He could beat you. That's how good that 07-08 team was.
I disagree.
Okay.
I
am glad that you actually disagree with this argument. And look, thank God.
You make a compelling case. I look at 83-84. That's Dean Smith's first team that's dominant. They ran the table in the ACC. Okay. When Virginia's got Ralph Sampson, Coach K is building Duke. Bobby Crimmins has got Georgia Tech really good. And there's some other quality Maryland's. There's quality teams in the conference. Okay. And you got to think back then it was right. You played everybody twice, so they've seen you. You don't get that in the modern ACC. You just talked about doing all this 1 versus 1. Who guards Michael Jordan? He was the best player in college basketball that year. Sam Perkins is probably the second best big man in college basketball.
Can I answer your question? I think, and okay, that sounded rude. That wasn't what I was trying to say. I think if there's anybody that could give him a real test. Okay, look, this is kind of like the debate whenever they would say a couple of years ago in the finals, who is going to guard LeBron for the Warriors? Okay, you're not going to stop him completely. Okay, Mike is going to get his points. I think Danny Green would really give Mike the toughest test out of anybody. I think we've seen what Danny can do in the NBA. He was that good at the college level. It just wasn't as recognized because, well, we were focusing on Hansborough and Lawson and Ellington. So I think Danny could give him. I think Danny could give him something. I think he could. And to be real,
I think Sam Perkins can hold his own with Tyler Hansborough. I think Sam Perkins is a guy that like people just forget.
Can you imagine how fun that matchup would be? 1984 Sam Perkins versus 2008 Tyler Hansborough. So that would be a phenomenal showing.
Like if we ever do an underappreciated list, Sam Perkins is on. He might be number one because he's the good. Gosh, he won his national title on. You get overshadowed because Michael Jordan hit the shot. James Worthy could give you 30 and 15 without trying.
Right.
Jimmy Black was the leader of leaders at that time. I mean, Well,
Jimmy Black wasn't on the 83-84 team.
I'm talking about the team that won the title.
Gotcha.
So
okay. My fault on that.
I think Dean Smith looks at the 87 team and the 84 team kind of like they're very similar. 84 is probably the one that not making the Final Four is probably his biggest dent against his coaching career because you've got MJ, you've got Sam, and that Indiana team that he lost to wasn't an Indiana team that Bobby Knight was accustomed to having.
Right.
So it's there. I think watching them play 08 would be a lot of fun. I just who stops Michael Jordan?
Okay, so here's my counter argument to that question. How do they handle the depth of the bench for Carolina? And do you honestly believe that somebody is matching up well with Ty Lawson in that game and can slow him down in the open court?
See now what you've done is we've taken it away from the players. And now you're essentially asking if you got to pick a coach to outcoach the other, who are you taking? And I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, because we already know we agree on that, and that is not a popular opinion.
Well, no, because in that.
Well, I mean, I guess it's a coaching thing, but it's also look. This is a little bit of a fundamental discussion. Okay, Roy Williams was a guy that, of course, sort of drilled it into Ty Lawson's head, let's move. But at the same time, like, Ty Lawson knew when to do it. Ty Lawson even did it a little bit in the NBA. It just doesn't work as well because you got better defenders. You've also got guys that, frankly, when you got to the NBA level when he first got there, you had centers that were humongous and did not want to run the floor. Ever. They didn't do that.
I also think.
So what I'm saying is it's not. I get what you're saying, but Ty Lawson himself, I think, would still have played with that mentality if he went elsewhere. That Roy recruited him for a reason because he knew that he could run the up-tempo offense. So I still think Ty Lawson. Let's say that we're throwing these guys out there with, I don't know, me and you coaching them. Okay? I think that
my team's going to win.
Okay, you're an idiot. That's not happening. I think that, honestly, who is matching up with Ty? Who is your point guard that's stopping Ty Lawson? And then, okay, after that, you got to remember, I can go to my bench if I get in foul trouble, and I've got Bobby Frazier, who can come off at point guard, Ginyard or Green, whoever, you want to start over the two. There's just so much depth. It's tough. Yeah.
Okay, the best answer I have, what stops Ty Lawson? That team shot 54% from the field. Anyone can run when you're missing.
Okay.
But if you're constantly having to take the ball out of the basket, which that team's going